day, because if they were to go home from day one and get that first starting position, then they'd be able to get their engines out, rev it up, and then get all these moves. They come back with engine preparation. So they don't have that opportunity just on the one day, but it's still 4 games, as you mentioned, and they get some kind of comfort level. Now it's going to be 4 games today, and they'll see if they can learn from any games 1, 2, and 3 of the day I'm speaking of. I see Vishy at the board a little bit early, waiting for Garry. Garry is someone who doesn't like to sit at the board, as we have seen, and we got a Garry watch. He's definitely in the building, folks, so don't worry about that. But he is somewhere, as we see the playing hall of the U.S. Women's Open, and now we've come
Perhaps
back.
he just got lost in the beauty of the renovations. It's easy to kind of get distracted by how beautiful the space looks, but he has made his way to the board.
In terms of castling, by the way, because that's going to be a key issue here. In terms of castling, I always like my king next to the knights. So if you imagine knight f3, knight g4 for g3 for white, you want your king on g1. And we do have e4 on the board, as we expected. And we did see Fabi and Garry looking at a very strange-looking pawn sacrifice. Remember, we were just seeing them looking at a position like this, and you were saying, Maurice, yeah, you get the knight back to c4 and or g4, and I think Gary's idea was to lure this pawn into a potential of g4.
Am I the only one who's a little bit...
Why are we thinking?
Wondering why is it that the e4 is played, looked like a pretty natural move, and Vishy has already gone into over 30-second thing. And he was sitting at the board before Garry sat there. What's going on?
And if I'm not wrong, when we got a quick look at his board in working through the position, e4 was on there at one point. So it's not like this is a first move that wasn't discussed to some degree.
I think the answer there was he saw that there were 3 major approaches to e4. The first was e5 and just keeping the balance, and we saw some kind of a Scotch game. The second is this choice, kind of going for French. Like we could have a situation of d4, d5, e5. And you know, in the French, you have this usual light square bishop problem. Well, I don't see that so much as a problem anymore. You get to play playing bishop h5. So the second issue was the French. And actually, another third issue, once again, you would like to play d5 and not recapture with a rook, but recapture with a knight. Hence, a situation like this would play perfectly into black strategy. And Vishy spent 30 seconds. Which approach would I like? He eventually chose the French defense. Did you like his choice, Maurice?
May I make this point?
Sure.
Please.
E6 has been played in 4 of the 5 games, 3 yesterday, and 1 today after e4. French players, like yourself,
Rejoicing.
It's a golden period for French defense players.
Well, for all the time that Vishy ate up, we're going to eat into Gary's clock in very much the same way.
Right.
Perhaps a little bit of a surprise for him. Some more tepid move here, less committal, reaching for that e6.
Well, you notice that Garry hasn't responded instantly with the d4, d5, e5 traditional French defense setups, because I think Garry is warming up to the fact that, you know, the pawn is supposed to restrict black's play. But after f6 followed by bishop g6, you might regret having given up the square f5. By the way, I'm going to put a move or 2 on the board, if you don't mind, for just a moment. And, you know, we've been talking about this queen on h8. In a French defense, where you're trying to secure the f5 square, queen suddenly is very nicely ready to come out. h4, queen h5, and I can warm up to the position for black.
I like it. You've preempted my question about how the queen all of a sudden didn't feel so good being locked out of that dark square diagonal, but like you say, sets up a nice little battery there for the bishop on a longer light square diagonal, perhaps.
Please.
And watching Garry head in hands move 2, this is what preparation is all about in or even not all about when we're talking about chess 960, because you're not going to see a world-class player sitting there, e4, e6, move 2, head in hands, trying to work out variations. He is looking at this, and clearly he and Fabi did not look at e6. So importantly, Vishy came up with a move that is now surprised Gary, at least in this first game, that he would have to look at for game 3, but he doesn't have the benefit of preparation now. He's got to deal with it in game 1.
This speaks to the multifaceted nature of a format like this, of a variant like this, right? Where you're playing not just the game of chess, you're playing the opponent, you're playing the clock, right? And so very much, it can be just as maybe if it's not the most optimal move, maybe the engine says, okay, this isn't the best move, but in this circumstance, it might be the best move because of what it forces from your opponent. That now 3+ minutes of thinking here, just on move 2?
Yeah, that's 960. You got to get the zen of the position.
I know it's 25-10, but we're not going to get past move 20 here before the clock's run out.
Right. E7, E6. This is a shout out to Hikaru Nakamura. Against the French defense, one of the lines that Hikaru adopted was the early F4, D5. And in a French defense, where black is nicely, let's say, gotten a wedge in the center, white goes for his own wedge on the king side. Again, bishop will come out to e3, maybe even to h4. Knight comes out to f3. Queen has a square on g2. The funny thing about this bishop, you know, it's lurking. It's lurking. It's not a good move, but let me just point out, the bishop can come out the other way and potentially get on a very good diagonal.
That said, Yaz, I am not feeling the fluidity of play.
No,
for,
me either.
For white. I got to say, that move e6, the more I look at it, the more it seems like a fantastic solution for black's problems. Now that white has placed a pawn on e4, that e6 with d5, it creates a nice structure. It opens up the bishop, the one problem child that you have in the position, the one we said, we don't like that piece. That piece is just quickly coming out with ease. Either it's coming out on the a4 to e8 diagonal, that diagonal we see there. This bishop certainly is going to be able to come this way, or it's going to be able to come along the other diagonal, e8 to h5. This piece, it's like we learn in chess, what's your worst piece? Improve it.
Exactly.
He's after that right now with the move e6. In addition to controlling the center quite well, that's a tough move, and Gary is showing that it is. Look at his clock.
Yeah, Vishy, he's answering those fundamental questions. Gary, right now, we had questions about his time management yesterday, and I don't feel like he's answering those questions for us right now, Yasser.
No, he's still struggling to come to grips with the position. But at a certain moment, you know Gary is creating his pattern. He has an idea. Once he plays a move like f2, f4, everything's going to flow very, very quickly. He's going to bring in his knights out, knight f3, knight e3, bishop g3, move his queen, castle short. Let's try f4 for a second, Maurice. Throw out a suggestion for Vishy in return. d5?
D5 seems like the most natural move, so I'll play it.
Exactly, and now, as they say, I'll take the wedgie.
Absolutely.
I got the central wedge. Now you're going to, okay, what did he do? He went d4 after all, after a long think. Whoa.
Well, we all could have played that after 3 seconds.
What does that tell you about what his mindset is? Is that just, okay, I'm settling for a move that I don't even necessarily like?
I think he's showing that he's struggling.
Okay.
He's struggling to come up with, the zen of the position. And it is a struggle. And look at this. This is not Garry Kasparov playing his patented ferocious type of game. He just captured on d5.
Let me say, I'm going to give Gary a little bit more credit, not because his time management was so great, but I think that from Gary's perspective, he wanted to make sure that he didn't fall into anything, or also that he had a nice path going forward. And obviously, this position is not majorly advantageous for white, as
not
you
at all.
kind of quickly look at it. But it ain't bad.
No.
It's not like it's a bad, he may not get a big edge coming out the opening, but he doesn't have to. He just needs to get his pieces in the game.
Right.
His time was spent. He decided, I'm going to just get some easy play, easy development. This looks like equality to my eyes pretty quickly. So it's just a game. It's just a game. The complexity of the opening is probably past us because there's no big structure with the pawns still there. This is when we see exchanges happen, we consider this kind of liquidation just straight towards equality.
And to your point, I've seen a player like Vincent Keimer, yes, in different time controls, but in chess 960, take over 30 minutes to make his first move on a board as black.
Okay, that's a lot,
right? It's a lot, but he would then go on to win the event. So, hey, there might be something to it. And even an example yesterday in Game 4, we've seen how quickly a chess 960 game can go wrong as well, right? Yes. How quickly you can end up down an entire piece, and maybe that's eaten at the back of your mind a little bit too, wanting to avoid a situation like that if your opponent's approach has surprised you in some way, shape, or form. Now, a bit of a think here for Vishy. Because this surprised me a bit. We were talking so much about pawn development here on the right-hand side of the board, and yet it's actually happening over here on the left-hand side of the board.
Well, he just played c2, c3, essentially to open up the bishop. Now, you know me. I'm a king hunter, obviously. I got that.
King hunter and pawn grab.
Yeah. I have got that reputation. I've got that reputation as a king hunter.
He's making stuff up right now.
Vishy surprised me. So I'm imagining in my mind's eye, how do I get to white's king? Obviously, I play bishop a4. Give me your rook. Give me your rook. You're not going to play bishop c2. You're not playing bishop c2. You're going to play b3. I'm going to go back with the bishop, and you're going to bring your knight out. I'm going to bring my knight out. You're going to bring your knight out. I'm bringing my knight out. And then you're going to bring your bishop out. And now, here's my king hunting skills. You see that? You see that, Maurice?
Stop it.
Look at that.
That was
gifted attacking player, right?
Amazing that you conceived of that profoundly.
That is beautiful. I think I would just slide my rook out of the way, though, if you come in to threaten the rook.
Oh, you think there were more than one response?
I think there might be more than one response.
No way.
Even my 1200 rated mind.
That was the main line, guys. C7, C6. Just, again, a little bit modest move. But I told you at the very start, my problem, the biggest problem piece were the bishops. The bishop's on E1, the bishop's on E8. Garry's opening is to cure that right away. He's put his bishop on D2. He's looking at playing, in case the knight comes to F6, he's looking at the potential for the pin, bishop G5.
And also, look, in symmetrical positions, the position can tend toward equality.
Clear.
That's just normal.
Right.
But also, the fact is that white goes first.
Yep.
So you can copy me, it's like your annoying little sister. I have one of those. She happens to be a 6-time world champion boxer, so it's even worse. She's so annoying. But they say, copy me, don't copy me, don't copy me.
Right.
In chess, you keep copying the person, they move first.
You will lose.
There's going to be some point in that copying where you're not going to be able to copy.
Right.
So even though it's symmetrical, even though it might not have so much poison, some structural scope where white builds up a great pawn formation to try to do damage and restrict black, you can't just copy for the next 20 moves because there's going to be a threat that maybe I threaten mate and you're going to go, you can't threaten mate as well. Right. So that's something we have to keep our eye out for. Reminds me of, a lot of those E4, E5 positions where it's just like a quick, the Wesley So draw. I hate putting it on Wesley.
Right.
But, where everything just happens real quick on E5 and it trades down to a similar structure as this one.
Right.
Maybe it's more like a Petrov is what I'm thinking of. One of those that just turned highly symmetrical. And here we go, the annoying kid brother. In this case, copy me, I copy you, you copy me.
Symmetry.
So Vishy isn't afraid of the initiative just yet, right? Saying, I'm happy to play into the symmetry because I don't see that moment where I'm on the back foot because you're the one playing white and have the initiative.
And again, Vishy has just played the move bishop D7, very, very natural move, no problems. But this, for me, is an exchange French defense. Full stop, end of story.
Yes.
And a lot of times in the exchange French defense, the squares E5 and E4 become the argument. Who controls those squares? For me, I would have found the move F7, F6 attractive. First, because I defend the e5 square, but more importantly, I'm trying to get rid of the worst piece on the board. I want to play the move bishop g6 and force you to trade that bishop on my terms. Let me just make a move for white, okay? And if I could get you to think about trading, you remember I had a problem with my queen?
Yeah.
Now
she's
not
alive.
anymore. You just opened up my queen, so I'm ready to play g5, queen h7. So I'm thinking f7, f6 wasn't such a bad
The only thing I would argue with f7, f6, if I may, and we go back to that, is Gary has now played rook e1, which foregoes castling on the king side.
Exactly.
After that move.
It also guarantees that symmetry will be
After f7, instead of rook e1, I'd like to back up.
Please.
In this position, maybe bishop f5 check.
Yeah, that will provoke me to block. Yep.
And since my bishop was going to move
anyway, you've come back to c2.
I come back to some square, whether it's d3 or c2, and then prepare the knights to come out.
And you have left me committed to play the move f7, f6. Maybe that wasn't on my agenda. But
yes,
on the
not
other
to play
hand,
knight e3 and continue.
Right.
Or even knight g3. Yeah, but something like this. Maybe that's where his thinking was. But now rook to e1 by Vishy, and is this by Gary? Sorry, is this a copy me moment again?
Rook e1. No, it's not a copy me. Rook e8. I get to take and draw your bishop back to the e8 square. That I don't think is what you want. I think it's time to develop the knights. Let's just go. Knight e6, knight f6, knight g6, knight f6. Let's go.
You're picking the litter, huh?
Yeah. Now, I really do think that when Gary played the move bishop d2, he was trying to discourage Black from jumping with the move knight f6 because of bishop g5. Gary got up?
Gary's up.
Very surprised. He has been, as we saw on day one, he's been jumping out of his chair and kind of stalking around the playing hall.
That's Gary. Let's be clear. That's Gary. Gary does not like to just sit there at the board. He wants to walk around like a tiger on the prowl.
Right.
This tiger from Madras, that's his nickname, though Madras, Chennai, either one, but he sits at the board.
Yeah.
And focuses the entire time. I'm not sure if he does this in classical chess. That's something I don't recall. But he does it in rapid, and guess what?
No.
He copied you.
I didn't expect that. I really didn't expect that by Vishy.
Not a one of us expected it. The question is, did Gary expect it?
That's kind of funny, actually. No, again, I would have been more than happy just to get the knights out. Knight f6, go ahead and pin me, bishop g5, knight g6, intending the move bishop f4, I think was perfectly good for Black. This, I would have thought, I would have just rejected this because I feel like I made a step backwards. I made a concession, bishop e8.
Yeah, at the very least, we've achieved breaking the symmetry, but to your point, now on the side of Black, I just feel like I'm moved behind.
Yeah, well, we started a half ply behind because we're Black to begin with, but now I feel like, well, we're 2 ply behind because White's already got in bishop d2, and it's his turn. And now, having said that, how significant is it, Maurice?
It's probably not that significant, but maybe psychologically so. And Gary clearly feels like,
I got something.
I don't like what you did. You shouldn't have copied me anymore.
Right.
But now, what can I do to prove the point?
Yeah.
And the eval bar is saying, it ain't that serious.
No,
Sorry.
No.
It's still within bounds. And as long as Vishy, and you see how peaceful he looks at the moment, arms folded, relaxed, while Gary's going through all kinds of paroxysms at the moment. But Vishy's just like, you know what? I'm chill. I don't think it's that bad. The structure is perfect. You're not really saying much that's going to bother me. So what?
But now I'm living in your world where let's just finish our development.
Right.
Let's go bishop c2. Let's look for a castles. Let's get both of our knights out. And again, I'm just a full step ahead of you in this foot race.
Yeah, exactly. I agree wholeheartedly. Now, again, we often get to these positions, these middle game positions, and we say the breaks. Where are the breaks? Okay, I have extra development, so I need to open up the position.
Good luck.
where's my breaks?
Good luck. You may have a lead in development, but you don't have easy breaks. As you put it. It's a fantastic point.
Yeah.
Good luck finding a way to aggress the black king. Bishop c7 followed by queenside castles will happen very soon. And then the knights will come out. And the key question, I think the whole question of this position actually comes down to what damage can the two knights, the one sitting on f1 and one sitting on g1, how quickly can they cause some kind of ruckus?
Exactly.
Because if these knights don't do any damage soon, black's just going to develop the pieces. Absolutely. And black's going to be perfectly fine. If you're going to take a lot of time getting this structure going, and you're making some moves right now, Yaz, to show what might be possible, it's not going to be something that painful. Why are we giving away pawns?
I just wanted to show once again my aggressive propensity to go after kings. I'm the natural king hunter.
You are living in some
in case anybody was wondering what Yasser was capable of, we just had to get that out.
Well, I mean, you know, you bring the queen on h1 that's doing nothing to a7. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you're a god. That's impressive stuff.
Okay. Well, I'll give you $1,000 if you see that play.
Well, thank you very much.
I'll give you $5,000. That's a fantasy.
Wait a minute. Bidding isn't over. The producers are still behind you guys.
Raising the paddles. But how about this? I mean, again, time is always a factor, and we have a 5-minute differential right now between these two players. So, you know, right now, copycat chess, by all accounts, is seeming to work here for Vishy, just from the perspective of giving himself time.
Okay,
what's G3?
Thank you. I was going to ask second. What is G? Well, obviously we're opening up the queen, but beyond that, okay, all I can see is a possibility that Garry wants something of this nature. Don't ask me or why he would want to be able to recapture on F5 with his queen. I don't know what G3 is. You tell me.
I'm struggling.
He's just trying to build a pyramid, as far as I'm concerned. G4 is coming.
Step by step, then, right? No, G2, G3. Nope. I don't like it. I think it's not. I think it's a useful move, but I don't see it as being a critical key move. I like what you were saying, James. Bishop C2, castle quickly. Put your rook on E1. That's the open file. Bring your rook to the open file. I love it.
You're also taking a square away from your knight. It's not a move that is going to scare Vishy in any way, shape, or form.
No.
That's clear. The thing that we have to pay attention to now, of course, are the clock times. Now, Vishy can just start playing some moves. He can recognize, I'm not in any real danger here.
No. Right.
There's no way G3 landed on the board and you fell off your chair.
No.
You should be playing a quick move in response. And there he is. And he's playing G6.
The younger brother
make it make sense.
I want to go back to copying you again.
Make it make sense.
Okay. And look at Garry, like, reflect back, like, what? G6?
I love it.
Again, I didn't see that coming.
Maybe that was the whole idea of G3, just to see if he would keep, hey, there's no world where he would copy this move, right?
Right. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, they're surprising us, but again, there's no dynamic tension in this position whatsoever. Sooner or later, some pieces will come off the back row, and strategically, it is going to be up to Garry to check his time eval bar. Right now, he is down more than 4 minutes.
Yep.
I mean,
that's the most significant thing that came out of this opening is the slow play and the lack of a clear plan by Garry. He used a lot of time, and I still don't have a good impression what he's doing with this piece.
Which is interesting, because it doesn't feel like we've hit any critical moments in this game, right? And
Not
the critical
at all.
moments is where you want to see the 2 to 5 minute things.
Right.
You only got a couple of those in the bank at this point here, Maurice.
The most exciting thing that happened in this game is rook takes e8 check.
Wow.
Right?
I nearly fell off my seat.
It was like an earthquake.
Yeah, right.
But
here we go.
A move we can all get behind.
Yes.
No high marks for Vishy's move coming up next.
Bishop C7. You want to bet? Let's make a bet. Is Bishop C7 going to happen?
High probability. High probability. By the way, 5 minutes on the time eval bar in favor of Vishy. I'd play Bishop C7 castles lickety-split. Let's get that on the board. Because, again, Gary has been slow playing it, and I would get the feeling my opponent's not comfortable. He hasn't come up with a plan. Bishop c7, let's go.
Unless he felt like bishop c2 was in some way an error, putting the bishop specifically there, why haven't you played bishop c7 already?
As in missed opportunity or something?
Or something.
I don't know. I don't see why
It's got to
it
be
would
bishop
be
c7. And
breaking the symmetry.
Breaking a more active square, preventing any b3 move, as you mentioned, Yaz, the bishop on that diagonal.
It was funny because I wanted to play bishop a4 way back in the day and to provoke b3. Now you would imagine how fun it would have been to have provoked b3. Anyway, castle's long. Let's go.
Okay.
I just want to point out that b3 would probably not be a good idea because of this check.
Ouch.
And so here we go. Gary is castling, and he has castled.
And he did it with one hand. Yeah, you picked up on that too, James. And Vishy instantly castled. Okay.
All righty.
So still the symmetry is king. And the eve, I mean, it's balanced. It's completely balanced at this moment.
There is very little here separating the two players. Exactly. Just frankly, the most important thing we want to look at, let's just really take a look at the pawn structure. In this position, you can see the symmetry. I mean, black's pawns look exactly like white's. There's 4 against 4 on this side.
Yep.
When we have this kind of symmetrical pawn structure, it means no one has an edge in this way. No one has anything easy to do to break that symmetry. This is just exactly twins of each other. The knights will come out, and they'll look like twins of each other in a moment. So this is really not much here. We would say they're playing a GM draw. If it was me and Yasser sitting down, it's because we wanted to get this game over with and go have some dinner.
Right.
Like, this is what you would say about a game like this one at the moment. It's just not much going on.
No.
This type of board position for me is the most difficult to evaluate and find a way forward. I know not every piece is necessarily developed yet, but we're kind of in that state of the game where a number of moves have been made, and I've got to learn I've got to figure out a way to plot a path forward. How are you approaching it? Are you always focused on launching attacks on the king? Are you looking at specific pieces? Are you looking at your own piece setup, or are you more focused on your opponent's piece setup and how to dismantle it? Where do I, in a middle game, as a lower-rated player, build an attack plan?
Well, the correct answer, of course, is yes to all of the above. Okay. Yes, I am looking to improve each and every one of my pieces. The last move by Gary, by the way, the rook on d1, e1, not the most phenomenal earthquake-like move, but it improves the rook, brings it to the open file. And I always compare my pieces to one another. Maurice, I like that bishop that you got there. No, let me trade that off. Maurice, I hate that knight. Let me trade that. You keep that one. I'm not going after that. So, yeah, I'm looking to improve my pieces. I'm looking to take away your good guys, leave your guys alone. Also, I feel like whenever my opponent's retreating, like keep retreating. Let them retreat. Let them retreat. In this position, this is not enough to sink your teeth into. And Vishy's doing the correct thing, which is, look, this is your good rook. Hey, guess what? I'll trade it off.
Right.
And we've seen this chopping block along the e-file.
If I may, another thing that's of critical importance, of course, improve your pieces and restrain your opponent's pieces. That's just general chess 101.
Right.
But also identify your opponent's weakness or weaknesses and see if you can come up with a plan to attack those weaknesses and cause your opponent some discomfort. That will cause your opponent to put pieces on squares they don't necessarily want to.
Right.
And any kind of miscoordination, discoordination in the enemy camp, you can then exploit on the next move. You cannot plot the entire thing all the way down.
As much as you'd like.
We say in chess, it's important, yes, to look ahead, but it's also important to be situationally aware. Right in this moment, what's the best thing for me to do? That's really what you need. And the best thing to do at this moment, from my eyes, get those darn knights off the back rank at some point, and then eyeball weaknesses. You see Yasser noted the f7 weakness. We can smell those kind of weaknesses at a long range. That bishop move just weakened the f7 square It's not a big one, but where else are you going to find a weakness in this position? There might be a little tiny bit of dark square weakness, if I will, on this diagonal right here. Kind of, sort of. It's nothing that a strong player would be scared and terrified of. This bishop could have some influence in some way, maybe on this square, but it's just too tiny. It's just small margin we're talking about. But also, remember the alpha zero-esque H4 type ideas as well could come into play, although black will probably challenge with H5, but then the knight could get to G5 pretty rapidly.
Exactly. Again, Garry has not been playing swiftly, quite the contrary. It took him a number of minutes to play what for us is a very natural move, just get the pieces out. And with the move rook E1, he is eyeballing the possibility of 95. Again, not the only move, but for me, a high-quality move would be the move rook E8. He did play
that
F7,
right here.
F6. A situation that I spoke about earlier, in these exchange French, the fight for the E5 and the E4 square are huge. And so that earlier opportunity of playing F7, F6, and bishop G6 that I referenced makes sense. Now we finally, Garry picking up the pace. It's taking him a while.
He's picking up the pace. I appreciate that we've developed the knights, and of course we're kind of preempting the knight jump over there to E5. But this to me now feels like I've kind of caged in my own knights on the black side of the board. There's less opportunity of spaces for me to develop these knights too.
I would agree.
For white or for black?
For black, sorry.
For black. I would agree with that. The thing, though, is knight E6 is pretty easy. Knight E7 is a clear square for you to go to. So that doesn't seem like that necessarily that big a problem. By the way, I want to point out that in this moment, we have a normal-ish looking position.
Yeah, the players have got like this is chess. This looks right out of the exchange French.
The only thing we're wondering is why did this queen move to the H1 square and why did this queen move to the H8 square?
Right.
That's where you'd be wondering, like, how did this happen? By the way, that last move,
very strange.
Now we are in the area of miscoordination of pieces. The bishop on E6 feels like it's on a bad square. On the open file, the knight on F8 now can't move without some worry, some small worry that that rook will have some kind of play. Knight C4 maybe, if you don't think correctly. So, for example, I'm going to make a move for white.
Play Queen F1.
You want to play Queen F1?
Oh, desperately. The reason I want to play Queen F1, we talked about pawn breaks before. At last, not that I'm eager, C3, C4. And in case, you now go ahead, play your knight D7.
All right, now knight D7. Garry has, in fact, played the move queen to F1, so you did predict
and
that.
now knight C4 is what
now,
we were showing.
This is the idea I was saying. Suddenly, this knight move shows up, and you're hitting this bishop, and you're hitting this bishop at the same time. You're forced, actually, to capture this knight. There's no other move because the two bishops are happening. So now you get the advantage of the two bishops. You get another tempo on the bishop on the D6 square. And, excuse me, a little button is hanging with queen takes C4 to follow.
Now this has gone wrong.
Something's gone wrong. Here you have to play knight B6, in fact, to defend the position.
And let me tell you right now, right here, I see a pawn grab. Do you see it? Do you see it, Maurice? The pawn grab?
From here?
The queen on H8 is undefended. So you go queen H3, making
the king move.
Making the king move.
And the guy spots.
Now the distance all the way
distance,
across.
Boy.
Wow.
Amazing.
Sweet nectar.
Amazing. Yes, don't count on Yasser to find the way forward.
That to me, you were talking about boxing earlier. That to me felt like a boxer. He threw the feint to the left-hand side of the board just to get you to look that way for 1 second, and then he goes right to snap up a pawn, just like that.
We call it the old 1-2.
You see, in Yasser's puzzle rush, like, you know, there's puzzle rush, right? In all of the puzzles in Yasser's puzzle rush, it's how do you win a pawn?
How do you win a pawn?
Mates? Oh, those are boring. Those garbage out here. Wins of queens? Please. How do you win that pawn? And that's a puzzle rush.
That's a building block. It's a building block to victory right there. You grab enough pawns, it's equivalent to a queen as far as I'm concerned.
Right. Trying to bring you all into higher consciousness. Queen G7, very, very natural move. I still am puzzled about the move bishop e6. I just didn't see why. It steps in the foot in the pathway of the knight. Queen g7 a moment ago, knight e7, knight e6 made sense. Why did I need to put the bishop on e6? No, Gary, the challenge is he's behind on the clock. Should he make the positional risk? Should he be playing the move c3, c4, potentially getting stuck with a very awkward isolated pawn? But we're kind of hitting. We're making use of the open file. I don't know, Maurice. For Gary, I'm taking a big strategic risk with
Yes,
c4.
I don't think he's going to do that. But problematically, as you mentioned, that clock.
7 minutes.
7:17, counting down, 13:24. You don't have a real edge, like something big. More importantly, you don't have a clear path forward.
That's my problem.
What should you do exactly? You know what Vishy's doing, as far as I'm concerned, the way he's left his knights on the back rank? He's playing sort of a hedgehog type spirit.
Yeah.
Right? Where you just bottle up, say, okay, I got no weaknesses, you've got no entry points. How do you come get me?
Exactly.
Figure out your words. So look at Gary, he's shaking his head now. He's the one with the lead in development. Yeah. He's the one who may have some sort of chances. His knights are not stuck on the back rank at the moment. But he's not looking happy because he can't figure out a way to hit. Move forward. What do you do to put pressure on this position?
It feels like he should be making progress, but he's just chasing his opponent around the ring right now, and he's bleeding time while it happens.
The clock time is getting more than a little serious. If you're not playing c4, and I kind of feel you're not playing c4, I think what you are playing for is control of the f4 square. Why? I want to play, I was about to say, I want to play h4, followed by the move knight g2. And what I want to do with this knight is bring it to a much better square, the f4 square, so I can put pressure on the knight. Now, Gary played the move knight g2 right away. Why did I preface it with the move h4? I wanted to kind of prevent the move bishop h3. I saw the move knight g2, then I saw the move bishop h3. And if my pawn were on h4, I would play queen h1 right here. I'd break the pin, kick the knight away, kick the bishop away, I beg your pardon, and then bring my knight to f4. Knight g2, Maurice, I feel like Gary's struggling a little bit here.
15 moves in to get to this position. Vishy down to 12:30, so he's used half his time, but Gary down to 6:19. And there's going to come a point where Vishy is going to play a move that Gary will have to pause a bit longer, legitimately. So far, he's played no move that Gary needed to think very, very deeply. There's going to become a move where he's going to go, oh, wait, what's this? And when it does land on the board, and did it?
He won't have the time. No,
and he won't have a lot of time to really cogitate, meditate, and calculate. He will have to move. And your move, is this your suggestion, the move G5?
Yes.
G5
not on the board.
May be one of those types of moves, as it has not been played as yet, but it's going to be, you see how Vishy just sat up in his chair? It doesn't look like a big deal. You think you're just kind of relaxing, just getting a bit more comfortable. No. Chess players, what's going on in their heads also gets reflected in the body. And things like that, if you see any kind of motion that's different from just sitting there, suggests that something's going on in his head right now. What do I do different? How do I complicate the situation so that Gary will have to stop and think for even longer, burning his clock?
He's been somewhat floating through this game up to this point, but as you mentioned, now giving it a good think, creeping down to about 11 minutes. You want to keep that time advantage right before you ask the question of your opponent that is going to force them into that long think, but perhaps recognizing this could be the critical moment where he poses that question to Garry Kasparov.
Now I finally understand why Gary played the move knight g2 first and not h4. Finally, what I understand is that Gary had prepared, in case of bishop h3, a natural move to pin the knight. The knight on f3 actually has no future. It's not on a good square. But after knight g1, this knight will come to f4. This knight will reroute itself. So actually the move bishop h3 is a poor decision, ill-advised. Poor decision for Vishy, and he played.
Instead, we'll have a knight developing for the first time here on the black side of the board. Okay. It will go to the rim. Obviously, that's not its final destination.
But, okay, Bishop, I like this move because, again, I didn't see a future for this knight. Now you've vacated a square. Potentially, I've got the maneuver. And Vishy anticipating bishop f4. That was very clever of Vishy. Is ready to respond with any trades, brings that knight back into the game.
There's nothing here.
Nothing.
For white.
Nope.
That last maneuver, the knight has made a couple of moves. We saw it on the G8 square. We wondered where it was going to go. And also the F8 knight, it's going to take some time because it's defending. This knight is defending this bishop at the moment that is under some kind of aggression from the rook on E1. So now I see you making a move there, Yasser, the suggestion of rook to E3. But the bottom line is that any move you make, this position is close to equality. You're going to have to figure out how to complicate life for black.
Right.
But there we see a trade.
Well, on black's terms.
On black's terms, and now the knight to F4 challenging that piece. So bishop takes, knight takes, and then knight to F4 has been played. That bishop most likely will drop back. It has two options, which directions to go in. D7 looks like a reasonable one. It could also, actually, this bishop for the first time has like a zillion choices it could make. You could you could attack the knight. You could maybe play bishop F5. You're saying queen D7 is possible as well. There are a number of opportunities for Vishy at the moment. And very importantly, double the time on the clock, approximately 5:42 to 10:05.
I like the move rook E8, unless I'm getting a little bit pinned gummied up by the move queen H3. I don't think so. I don't think that is something I have to fear. I've got king D7. I've got queen D7 as ways. But what did Vishy do? Sorry, I'm just going to refresh my board.
He played bishop G4 and now knight.
Instantly.
Okay.
Instantly.
And Gary played knight D2.
Wow.
Drop the knight back.
Okay. He was ready for that move, bishop to G4. Again, I didn't think that the knight had a future or any kind of a promising, any prospects, I should say. Knight E5 and knight G5 are both verboten. So knight D2, I think that was a kind of a useful bump. Thank you. I was going to move my knight anyway. I don't think that particularly helped Vishy's cause.
Well, the thing about this position, though, is we're nowhere.
It's even, Steven.
It's completely even.
Yeah.
And as much as this has been building, the tension is building. The tension, build, slow play. And the key, I hate to just keep harping on this, the key is going to be the clock.
Right.
Yeah.
And we don't see it yet, but it's going to be a factor if the pieces don't get traded off. And this, so far, we've sort of had our library voices at the moment. It's okay. We're chilling. But in about 4 minutes,
we'll be screaming.
we're going to have our basketball voices on.
It's a slow build to the day.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. Love this move, queen F7, by the way. This is a very chill move.
Help me understand this move.
Okay. So the idea is improve your pieces. Full stop. What is the queen doing on G7? Do you have a better square for the queen? Queen on G7 is covering H6, not doing anything. Queen on F7 covers the E8 square. Remember we were talking about how important it was at the open file. Whose rook's on the open file? Well, if we trade, we can recapture with the queen. So that's one good thing.
Right.
Next good thing is white has been building to control the E6 square. And the move queen F7, challenge. I'm not going to allow you to just hang there. The knight on F8, it needs life. It's done nothing for us. It hasn't earned a single oat.
Right.
So
we can only unlock it. Yeah.
With the move knight. So I like this nice little building move. I like it very much, queen F7. And it's back, ball in your court, Gary. What are you going to do?
That's maybe the most important thing, right? Is how quickly and smoothly that each of these moves are coming out. So queen repositions here to f7. We're just about to go below 4 minutes on the clock. 5 minutes difference between these two players. And that's probably the more important element, is just how much time Anand has to work with versus Garry at this point.
Not probably, 4 minutes. Definitely. It's look where he is. Do you know when your clock hits 3-something, what starts happening to your heart rate? We don't have a heart monitor in Garry right now. Yeah. But Garry better wake up and realize, I got to move. Right. I got to get in blitz mode. He is way too calm. Well, maybe he's starting to realize that he's thinking, what are you thinking about, bro?
Exactly.
Your clock is precarious right now.
I'm seeing a draw, guys. I'm seeing a force sequence of moves which essentially hoovers all the pieces off the board, just threatening to trade everything.
A little bit of liquidation.
And I'm expecting this, especially because of the clock times.
Do you think Garry is going, Vishy's going to acquiesce?
My exact question
as well.
Why not just keep playing moves? You don't have a bad position.
No, of course not. I just see that as the natural. All things being equal, those are the best moves. You go play. This bishop on f3 bothers me. Get out of the way. f3. This bishop, if I were black, bothers me. Let's trade it off.
Right.
We trade it. I've got the open file. No,
but
you don't.
So is there any point within that sequence, again, as Garry finally makes a move with only 240 to his name,
f3.
He doesn't go that way.
No, that's a surprise.
Could we please look at the clock times? I mean, is that bothering anybody? I can't sit here. I can't even pay attention to anything else.
Yeah, the whole desk is shaking over here right now.
What are you doing?
It's like the 24-second clock. He's got 3 seconds to put up a shot.
I will say Garry did play pretty phenomenally down the stretch with low time yesterday.
In fact, he said it himself in his interview.
Yeah.
He actually outplayed Vishy when he had no time.
With no time.
That was surprising for everybody. Knight d3. Okay, reasonable move. The knight on d3 kind of mirrors the knight on d6. You're looking for that outpost on c5 to take advantage. Again, for me, it's this knight on f8 as well as this rook on d8. I'm looking to play the move rook e8. I'm looking to play the move knight e6. And I would do it, if I was Vishy, quickly. One of those two.
I think Vishy is still looking for some kind of interesting move.
How do we keep it?
How do you make him
the game
think? But he's finally decided just to play a standard rook centralizing move, opposing white's rook, and now knight to c5.
Knight to c5. Came quickly.
I think Garry's aware now. Tick-tock, tick-tock, time ticking down.
And again, look, to my way of thinking, this knight on c5 bothers me. I want to play knight d7 and challenge it.
Yeah, should induce an e6.
Yeah, well, to challenge it. Challenge the knight on c5.
Yeah.
I don't want to play the move b6. Not that I'm afraid of check. I mean, the rook is hanging. Keep that in mind. I'm not afraid of this position, but why allow it? Why let that queen leap into the game? So if I'm in Vishy's shoes, I'm finding rook takes e1, check, as well as knight d7 as the most compelling.
Although
I
know I'm going to say something
profound.
He's not doing it. Although you said the word provocative.
Yeah.
And provocative might not be a bad idea. It's one of those moves. It may be one of those moves you have to play that is provocative that makes Garry go, what? Are you crazy? If it's still correct.
Right.
If it's still correct. We don't want to play moves that are compromising our position. But that b6 move could have been one of those moves that Garry looks and goes, this is not possible. And by the time he's cleared the cobwebs, he's down to 1 minute and 3 seconds on his clock as he tries to refute your move. Vishy has decided to play very conservatively, correctly, as you mentioned, challenge that knight. Garry quickly responded with knight to b3.
The cavalry. It's on the move right now. He's bringing everything over to the left-hand side of the board. Are we looking now at jumping all the way up to a5, threatening that very pawn, maybe trying to get it to come out into the field?
Already protected. The knight on d6 already protects b7. So even if I give you a free hand to play the move knight a5, I've got it defended. So for me, if I'm Vishy's shoes, I'm saying, dude, you just misplaced your knight. What are you doing? and I am trading off the potential attackers. Now, normally speaking, you don't like to give up the open file, so I was expecting something like Munch Munch, and yeah, we're just
and now we're fizzling.
That's
compared to yesterday's games that were just full of brimstone and fire and sharp play, lava bombs going on. This game does not have that intensity. The players are being a bit more cagey, and as a result, believe it or not, all the way, if we go way back,
almost to the start,
to this move after D5,
move
right here, and you made note of it, Yaz, when it happened. When Gary played this move, E takes D5, and allowed this pawn structure, the pawn structure hasn't changed at all since then. Pawn structures can be very sticky. This is one of them. And so as we jump now to the current position, we see that a trade has occurred. The pawn structure is pretty much the same. Nothing serious going on. A queen under attack, the second most interesting thing that's happened in this game. And the queen moved away. We saw the eval bar give queen F7 a blunder.
No, it was queen misread, E7. Thought it went to E7 first.
That's definitely not a bad move here.
Right. No, bishop F5 by Vishy. Again, I'm seeing the pieces just getting hosed off the board like a vacuum. Everything's going, and you said it very well from the very start. Pawn structure hasn't changed a bit.
No pawn breaks, nothing aggressive, a couple of cagey pawn moves, nothing to fundamentally alter the dynamic structure in any way. Nobody's paid attention to that. Vishy's got to walk out of this game thinking, oh, you neutralized, you're white. You got 0 coming out of that. Was that Gary's strategy coming into the morning round?
Protecting his lead in the match.
Well, and you brought us all the way back to move 2 there to kind of explain where it all happened. But I'll bring us all the way back to move 1 for Vishy, right? And how much that seemed to be unexpected on the side of Gary. E6, and man, we had a 5+ minute think. And once again, we're down below 2 minutes, 1 minute and 45 on the clock here for Garry Kasparov. So he's not out of the woods just yet, while still maybe has some options to get more pieces off the board and liquidate to a draw.
I see it as inevitable at this point. I would trade, if I was Gary, I would trade on F5, knight takes F5. Play a move like king to D2, anticipate more, hacking taking place on the E file.
How much hustle potential is in this position, though?
There's no cheapo potential, no hustling.
None at all. I mean, after all, you're down to 1:13 on the clock.
I know that.
Are you really giving this guy a 6 to 1?
No.
You think that if you're in this position, 6 to 1 doesn't matter. You could draw this in your sleep.
No, and especially against a player of Vishy's class, I would hate to be down that much on the clock.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, why should Vishy just roll over and say, I'm
okay, let's make a draw.
Donate the draw. No. Let's play a few moves. Let's see what happens.
I get ambitious, yeah.
Yeah, not do anything crazy, but let's keep the game going. You're the one who's down on the clock, not me.
But it does mean that Vishy's the one who has to keep the game going, right? Gary can just keep making moves that offer the trades, offer the equality, things like that. At some point, Vishy has to say no to that.
Well, but the strange part, James, to your point, was he could have traded, Gary could have traded off the bishops, could have traded off the rooks, could have brought his queen to a situation where they get faced off and trade. He didn't do that. It's like he's keeping the game alive.
Correct.
With no time on the clock.
You know
What's
what?
wrong with you?
It's like the scorpion and the frog.
Yeah, right?
Like, look, I'm sorry, take me across the water.
Right.
But no, you're a scorpion. You're going to sting me. No, why would I do that?
We'll both die.
We'll both die. No, take me across, and then when you start crossing, I stung you. Guess what? I can't change my nature.
My nature.
Gary's not the kind of player who wants to trade down. It's just, he's not, I'm going to panic. No, I'm Garry Kasparov. I'm the beast of Baku. Let's keep it busy a little bit. And I also think, remember Gary's parting words yesterday? He said to Anastasia, when we got in time pressure, I outplayed him.
Yes.
Maybe Gary thinks, let's drag him into those time pressure waters, and maybe I will be able to do it yet again. But this is a little bit taking a chance with the time disparity, although it's not as bad as it was.
I was going to say, it's lessening, right? You know, every time we check back in with the clocks, that differential is starting to shrink. But once again, we have another piece coming off the board. The rooks have just left the battlefield, so we're left with a couple minor pieces in play for each player and the queens.
On the board.
G5?
Yeah, just kind of giving the bishop, in case Gary wanted to play the move G4, it gives the bishop a little opportunity. It always had bishop D7.
Right. Played.
Instantly, by the way.
G4 on the board.
Gary has to pick up his pace. I like bishop to G6, by the way. It's not like I'm giving up control of the E6 square. What are you going to do? Go queen E6? Knight E6? Nothing. And again, queen E8 maybe on a good day if I could ever get a battery. You know what I mean? You know, I could. I'm always king hunting. Yeah, I'm always hunting.
King hunting in this position. You should stop. Yes, sir. But look,
3:30 now for Vishy.
Tick tock, tick tock. You got to make a move.
Tick tock.
What is Vishy thinking now? And this is
well, he played G5 to play bishop G6. Why is he thinking about this one?
And by the way, this is maybe the third exciting moment in the game. We had rook takes E8 at one moment. Then we had this nice C5 threat to the queen. And now G4 is the moment where you, something's under attack. At least we can get a little excited.
We were talking about
G6?
Possible pawn breaks. Is this the moment?
It is indeed the moment. F4 has been played.
Wow.
And now we have fire on the chessboard. Here we go.
F4.
Is this just giving up a pawn entirely?
No,
or no?
Because his intention is to recapture. In case of takes, Gary wants to play the move Queen F2, and it's not possible to defend the pawn. Queen takes F4 next. But I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, Gary, what are you up to? Are you really, really serious? You've given up the E4 square, my friend. I start to think about the move B6, and I genuinely start to think, you know what? I'm going to have command over this square E4 for the rest of the game. What are you doing?
We're going back to that interview from yesterday. I feel like I'm outplaying down the stretch. I feel like I'm outplaying when it comes to time trouble. There's 2 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock. Only 1 minute separates both of these players at this point. And it's now that Gary decides to strike.
Yes. Yes. It's now.
Bad timing.
It's
bad timing.
Here
bad timing.
You're not sold. You're not sold.
No, I'm thinking
Vishy agrees with you.
I prefer black's position after the move B7, B6, because I think, in my mind, you have given up. Again, you heard me from the very start. These squares E4, E5, it comes down to that battle. And if I win control over E4, I feel like I'm the player with the advantage. By the way, what are we going to do? The knight has got to come.
The knight is under attack. Knight B3 is not the most attractive move in the world.
That move I don't like. I don't like F5. For example, takes, tick, 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 tick. That would cost Gary a pawn.
It would cost him a pawn, but right now he's costing himself dearly on the clock. 40 seconds and counting. He will go for it. Of all
the very move I said, careful, don't play.
Much to Yasser's chagrin.
What
we are here.
I think Gary is cruising for a bruising.
I'll tell you right now. He's about to get punched, and he is going down a pawn. The engine hates that last move.
I don't like it. I don't like it. Well, let's just see what Gary is thinking about. If I take, you got to take the bishop, right? If I take, you got to take the pawn. If I put my knight on this magnificent square, give me the pawn. I'm assuming queen E3. Give me the pawn. I'm assuming B4.
No, this is...
Give me the pawn.
This is not what you want. This is
I'm
definitely not what you want. Vishy has taken on F5, which is actually the top move here.
Even the best move.
Okay. Best move in the position. And next stop, give me that. And now, what you said, Yaz.
Bring that centralized.
The knight is going to become a horse, indeed, a stallion on the E4 square. Gary's in big trouble.
Possibly even the E5 square. Interesting, isn't it? Like we were talking at the very start. Yesterday, what's the difference between these two gladiators? And I said, for me, the standout is that Vishy has this propensity to prefer knights to bishops. He is unique amongst his grandmaster colleagues in his desire to play the knight. Guess what we got? Queen and knight versus queen and bishop. Which player will prove
You've got
his
to prove
word?
it now. You've got to prove it now. And we're rapidly approaching panic time for both players.
Both
and for
players.
the first time in this game, it's actually VISHWANAThan who has less time on his clock. He does get the 10-second increment back up to
Where did it all go?
111.
And he has to go. He's winning a pawn. That's where it went.
By the way, knight e4. If I'm in Vishy's shoes, I am chomping at the bit to bring my queen to the e5 square. Knight e4. What is Garry doing?
He's throwing away the game is what he's doing. He's down to now 37 seconds. He's down is the count right? He's about to be down.
He'll be down a pawn.
He will be down a pawn shortly.
We have
and
a move.
C4.
What?
Didn't see that.
On the board, mixing it up.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it, Maurice.
He is playing Russian roulette with this position.
Yeah, but
C4 is a wild move.
But all the chambers are loaded. How about going pawn hunting? Queen F4 check, Queen C7 to F4. By the way, give me that pawn too while you're at it. And give me this pawn too.
Yeah, I just want to grab that pawn with my knight right now.
But guess
That's
what?
A possibility.
Vishy is now down on the clock.
30 seconds.
30 seconds. This is the moment Garry was talking about in his interview. I outplay him in the time pressure. And how is it possible that Vishy's at 20 seconds now?
You've got to make a move.
I don't think Vishy sees Queen C7. I think he's calculating knight takes C5.
You've got to pick up a piece.
Vishy.
Make a move.
Single digits. We're down to 5 seconds now for VISHWANAThan. 4 seconds on the clock. Is he even aware of the fact that he needs to make a move? He's about to flag.
He flagged.
I'm seeing the time.
Oh, my God. Vishy just completely lost awareness of the clock.
What just happened?
Garry Kasparov comes away with the victory. They're discussing it now.
What are they saying? No, I thought I had time.
You heard it right there. I thought I had time.
He just completely lost focus.
Oh, my goodness. We're going to take a look at these final moments again to show you the flag. It just wasn't moving with the urgency that he needed down the stretch. He got lulled into a false sense of security with the time bank that he had built up, and you can see it right here. He's considering a couple of moves, isn't going to reach for it. Clock hits 0, and that's it. Garry Kasparov gets away with one.
And 2 big points, $2,000.
$2,000, 2 massive, you said, into his win column, and he's got a very solid advantage in the tournament overall. But now here's where I'm concerned for kind of the mentality of a player like VISHWANAThan coming off of yesterday. We saw him looking maybe a little bit dejected after that 4th game where he had an opportunity to take advantage and equalize things. That's not the way you want to kick off day number 2.
Well, especially the final position, because we just thought Vishy had a big advantage. I mean, on the position. If he plays the move Queen C7, which is screamer, you always look for checks, right? So Queen C7 to Queen F4 check, you always look to munch pawns. And if Garry had captured, well, that pawn's dead, or that pawn's dead. Take your pick.
What was he afraid of?
I have no idea.
No,
he just forgot about the clock.
Absolute lack of clock awareness in a critical moment.
Wow.
He had no idea how much time he had on the clock. This is an unmitigated disaster, a catastrophe of like unimaginable proportions that such a star player could lose a game in the way he just did. I'm in shock, and I'm sure his fans all around the world are in shock as well.
Without a doubt, a shocking result here. Game 1 of the day on day 2. We're going to get a look at these updated score lines because it is more money in the pocket of Garry Kasparov. You can already see bonus money up to $3,000 with that win. But perhaps more importantly, it's those 2 points that he has secured himself because every game is more valuable today than it was yesterday. The same will happen again tomorrow as we look towards game or day number 3. Still 3 games to go, though. Still plenty of room to make it back up if he can recoup and not let this eat at him.
Funny you should put it like that because I need a chance to recoup and get ready for a break. Before we go on our break, a remarkable Losing on Time by Vishy. Let's check in with our friends at Q Boutique and see what they have for us today, showing their dedication to the highest level of chess with this exclusive, hey, this is cool, Clutch Chess, the Legends Polo. The shirt proudly displays the official logo of both the St. Louis Chess Club and Clutch Chess, the Legends on the front, available in both men's and women's sizes online at qboutique.com or in person, come in person to the St. Louis Chess Club. Shop online.
All right, well, just as we did yesterday, we're going to throw a question to our two commentators and try to stump them. I'm worried for their brains.
I'm worried
already.
for you.
They're stumped as is with the result of the game we just saw. Well, here's the question we have for you. In contrast to what we saw yesterday, which player won the shortest high-level 960 game so far in 2025? This is, again, in terms of number of moves, not necessarily time spent. You've got your four choices there, bottom of the screen, Fabiano Caruana, Wonder Liang. We've got Hikaru Nakamura and Magnus Carlsen. We'll give you a few minutes to think. We'll give them a few minutes to think, and we'll see if we can stump them when we come back. Now, as we go to break, Yasser took the opportunity to sit down one-on-one with Grandmaster Vishwanathan, Anand, and Joy, and we'll be right back. See you soon.
Well, to a certain extent, I think the pressure is off Anand. You know, it's such a tall order. No one thinks he's going to do it. So he can play really with a free hand.
And we jump ahead now to move 16. Anand playing the move A3, a very casual pawn move on the left side of the board.
This is actually a great move because it's saying to Kasparov, well, what are you actually doing in this position? Every move you make is actually going to compromise his position. It's a very clever move from Anand indeed.
And Kasparov spent 25 minutes studying this last move and finally played the move B5, but he obviously was not happy with the situation.
25 minutes, that's a lot of time. Both players have 40 moves to make in 2 hours, so that's a very large percentage of the time allotted to it.
And Bishop takes F6, played by Anand, and Kasparov thinking about this situation, captured on F6 with the pawn.
Vishy, thank you again for joining me. It's delightful to talk with you. I have a question for you. The future of chess. We've changed, just as you said it. We've gone from the analog to the digital, and the computer makes everything look effortless, and it's tough. Chess in the future, where do you see it going?
I think we're going to have to be on our feet. We can't sit in one format and one type of clash a lot, because also public taste will demand variety.
Right.
So you'll do one kind of event, and part of the kick will be designing some new and creative event, some new element. Maybe you'll have a bid for something during the game, or you'll go to the commentary room. Maybe you'll be allowed one card. And each of these things brings some drama, like when do you use that card?
Right.
Like in the Millionaire Show, you know,
Exactly.
when do you use that? But we will experiment with different formats, maybe change the scoring system a lot. And we will, just like the chess players are becoming more and more opportunistic in their opening selection and you know what kind of battle they want to set out.
Right.
The sport itself will react like that, because also spectators are like that. You cannot say every spectator wants to watch a game from start to finish. Some of them want to leave it in the background,
Right.
and do some other work, but keep popping back and forth.
Right.
You wouldn't think that's your necessarily the audience you're addressing, but you know, it's worth thinking, keeping that in mind to address and so on. Something between fragmentation and flexibility, but I'll watch it evolve myself.
We have watched chess evolve, especially in the format, in terms of the speeds of chess, because essentially I grew up with 5-minute chess. 5-minute chess, that was it. But then the other type of chess was classical chess, or these very, very, very long games. What has been for you your best time controls? 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 1 minute, 5 hours?
I grew up like you with 6-hour games or 7-hour games.
Right.
But the adrenaline stuff was 5 minutes.
Absolutely.
No increment, of course.
Of course not.
Unheard of.
No.
And then at some point during these knockout events, I collided with the world of 3+2 or 5+3, and there are, I think those are the two. There might be
Most
one more
popular,
somewhere. Yeah. That for me was my junky hand control. And then I noticed that there are people playing 1-minute games. And I thought, what's the point of that?
Bullet, yeah.
Bullet. For me, that's some alien environment.
Yeah.
But I realized that there are generations of kids now who think that's as natural as anything else.
Right.
You just do it and that's it. I remember the horror when Tkachev said, for the faster time controls, put your pieces as much as possible in that same quadrant where the clock is. So then you have the shortest distance. And a lot of people say, but this is not chess, this is scandal and so on. But, you know, that seems like very mild compared to today's environment, right?
Right.
I mean, now maybe you can get highly specialized designed mice for your computer to play online, whatever. And in fact, some online events, I tested whether whether I should just play on a tablet or something. It's just it might be faster with a finger than a mouse. And so. But rapid, of course. I played a lot of 25-minute because roughly what Mazatlan and a little bit maybe before that we started discussing it. Gary and Nigel played the Stevie match and so on. Rapid chess was all we needed for many, many years. But now it's spreading on both sides. We find that slightly slower rapid might be interesting for some events. But even faster rapid. You can go from, instead of 25 minutes always, you can play, but 25 is with increment. It used to be 30 without increment.
Right.
But you can play it on this side as well, 15 plus thing, 10 plus thing, and so on. Right. Slightly shorter thing. I mean, there's one for everything, and maybe in a dream world, hopefully, TV schedules will just dictate exactly the time available to both sides, and taking into account confession or whatever.
Right.
I think we should be generally very flexible and
be willing to play. Viswanathan Anand, thank you so much for your time. Very much appreciated.
Thank you.
Two legendary world champions, Garry Kasparov and Vishwanathan Anand, will do battle once again in Clutch Chess, The Legends, a special exhibition match celebrating their incredible legacies. Kasparov, a chess icon who held the title for 15 consecutive years, and Anand, a 5-time world champion, will compete in an epic Chess 960 match with $144,000 in prizes on the line. Catch this unique moment in chess history live from the new state-of-the-art facility at the St. Louis Chess Club. It's an unforgettable event you won't want to miss.
America's top chess players are set to compete in the most prestigious national championship in the world, the 2025 U.S. Chess Championship and the 2025 U.S. Women's Chess Championship, hosted by the newly expanded St. Louis Chess Club. Defending champions Fabiano Caruana and Carissa Yip will lead an illustrious field from October 12th through 25th, with a total prize fund of more than $400,000 on the line. Don't miss chess history in the making.
Welcome back, everybody, to the St. Louis Chess Club, where we had a bit of a shock to the start of our day with Garry Kasparov getting away with the victory here in game number 1. Viswanathan Anand losing on time, uncharacteristically. That said, we left you in the break with a question, a bit of an attempt to stump the commentators, if you will. A reminder of what that question was: which player won the shortest high-level 960 game so far in 2025? You guys have a guess?
Fabi.
You're going with Fabi. What about over here,
Now,
Maurice?
before I give my answer,
Yes.
I want to say it's not fair because this guy, Dash, has been calling all the Chess 960 games. He should be the one who's knowledgeable. But I am going to agree with you and say Fabi as well. What do you, before we say anything, what do you got, James?
They're both locking it in on A. I'm actually going to go with D. Oh, no, it's 1. Actually, I think you guys are right then. 1, it's Fabi. I was thinking just played shortest. Then I would go with Magnus, who would have had an early draw in one of our earlier events. But I think you guys are right. I'm going with with both of you. We're all A.
Let's find out. Copy me.
Drum roll.
It's a Wonder Liang.
In
fact, one of the only Chess 960 games I did not cover this entire year would, in fact, be the answer.
That's your excuse. I don't know about our excuse.
I wasn't really following that event like that closely.
14
moves is pretty quick.
This is a stunner.
And while this victory didn't come quickly, it was still a shocking victory, to say the least. 2 points going over to Garry Kasparov in our rapid game number 1 against Viswanathan Anand. Again, beating him on time. So now 4.5 to 1.5 points apiece in the total scoreline. We do have that bonus money over there. And, of course, we'll check in with the bonus money for games 11 and 12. Because it was a decisive victory, these aren't going to climb any higher. It's still $4,500 apiece when it comes to those final 2 games of the event to take place tomorrow afternoon. Whew. How do we reset from here, though? Where do you go from here? Because I had looked at this game 1 as the opportunity to reset for Vishy Anand. And now I have concerns with where his mental state is going to be after looking dejected yesterday and losing in that fashion.
And I got to say, you know, the thing is, he has played 3 bad games. Like, his trend, first of all, game 3 was a draw. Right. Should have been.
Should have been a draw. He lost.
Instead, he threw that one away. Game 4, it was a piece
up. Should have won it.
Not winning the game, getting a draw. And then this one, he's supposed to win this game.
He's much better.
Queen, much better. Queen C7, Queen E7, any queen move.
Yeah.
So for him to actually flag under these circumstances it's not just shocking, it's depressing. This is Viswanathan Anand we're talking about. And for him to just see those seconds tick away, 3, down to 2, down to 1, down to 0, and he's oblivious to the clock.
It's not a flag where you're reaching for the piece and you just don't get there in time.
Right.
It was a complete unawareness.
And there you see that unawareness, as Vishy himself was surprised.
But notice he looked around almost disoriented. It wasn't one of those things where you look over and you're like, what did I do? You'd be angry at yourself. Just as we look at him there on the screen, he looks to his left, he looks to his right. He's a bit disoriented. He's like, yeah, sure.
I lost track of the clock.
And he just, I mean, even forgot to shake hands in this moment. What?
What? Yeah, stunning.
I mean, so it's going to call into question a little bit of the form that he's in this tournament. But as well, I wonder how much of that is just the rhythm of that game. Having been ahead on the clock for so long, that to a certain degree, you just make that assumption. Well, the last time I checked, I was up 5 minutes on the clock, so I must still be good. If he's still playing, I must still be able to play. And in fact, that wasn't the case.
Yeah, lulled himself to sleep, but shocking because our whole careers, Maurice, we've been playing Bliss chess our whole lives. It's a part of our understanding of chess. The clock is the equipment of the board.
It's part of chess.
It's a part of it. You always check your clock. And especially Vishy, that was a stunning, stunning moment. And now they flip sides. It's Vishy with the white pieces.
And he will go a different way. And then we saw Garry go in game number 1.
And much more classical, I was going to say, play by Vishy, knight f3. Okay, I can see this from a mile away. You want to go knight g3. You want to play maybe the bishop out to b4, letting the queen come over to e1, putting the queen on d2 so that we can castle short. More sedate, easier play. And I think we're going to see a game with all of the pieces on the board. Much more interesting game than the first.
You talked about sedate play. That's what we had in the last.
Oh, that was terrible.
I mean, that was sedate. That was
to the point of, like.
We just thought it was going to be an easy draw, whatever. You mentioned that as well. He would get that draw if he had just gone for it directly. He decided not to. Garry imploded, right?
Right? Yeah, that was self-inflicted.
What Garry did was just not necessary
at all.
And caused himself with f4 and f5 to potentially have a disaster happen to him. And that's what we were all expecting until Vishy didn't move. So we'll see just how he treats the clock this game. But I have to tell you guys, I am still feeling the effect of the last game. It's such
really stunning.
A stunning thing, a shocking thing, a real downer when you see a professional of this class, this level, allow that to happen. Thankfully, he's got lots of points he could come back. He's going to have to show it. Show that championship medal as he plays these games.
And shake off what was for us a shock. I've been calling Grand Chess Tours for years, and the players on the Grand Chess Tour often get down to a few seconds, like literally even 1 second, and they never lose on time. They're remarkable in getting in those moves. So sitting there watching Vishy burn a whole minute, just the whole minute passed, he didn't move, he lost on time, he seemed completely oblivious to his clock. No, I haven't been calling that. C7, C6. Again, we've seen this from the first game, opening up the bishop, prepping bishop C7. Not a big fan because I don't see that bishop as being the problem child. I see this one as being the problem child. If I'm in Vishy's shoes, I'm shooting my bishop out to the b4 square. I'm welcoming a trade. And I'm sitting there going, ha, 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 I got rid of my bishop. What are you going to do? You're going to recapture with your rook, or you're going to double up your pawns. That's advantage white. So for me, the move C7, C6, I'm not a big fan.
He's being very careful, is Vishy right now, as he stops to think. And Garry must have realized from the last game, I just skirted the edge a little bit too much. Let me also pick up the pace. We'll see if they can continue that. We are only on move 3, and Vishy is deep in thought about what to do next. I think about time these guys should realize they're playing rapid blitz.
Yeah, and it's rapid for a reason. They call it rapidly.
Make some moves.
Yeah, it was aptly named.
Rapid, please. By the way, I forgot about my checkmating idea of queen f1, queen a6 mate. Bishop a5, just to try to provoke that pawn to b6 before dropping the bishop back to b4. I like bishop a5. Slow play. e2, e3, slow play.
Yeah.
Knight g3, queen f1, queen e2 on Vishy's agenda.
Well,
not much there. The engine actually is showing it doesn't like that move.
I didn't either.
It's just not a super incisive move. As the board gets refreshed there, and we say, what is Vishy after? I'm concerned. I'm concerned. This format, it definitely promotes comebacks.
Yes, that's the concept of the clutch chess, as you.
But if you start losing all your games,
right, there is an insurmountable point.
At some point where it's like you lost a lot of games, dude. Like this is not what you want for yourself. So Vishy has to right the ship. That's the theme right now. Right. And at the moment, we just saw 3 moves in, and already we're concerned that he's not playing hyper aggressively, or maybe he just feels like no need to panic. Don't worry, guys. I'm cool. I'm calm. I'm collected. I'll make it happen.
Sometimes you can be a little too chill. I mean, again, for me, the move e2, e3. It doesn't address the main issue. And give it a second thought, Maurice. Bishop a5. Had he played this move, you don't want to move the rook. You don't want to play bishop c7. I mean, it's not terrible if you play bishop c7. We're just going to trade, and you're not castling. You're committed to keeping your king on the queen side. But if you do play the move b7, b6, it does raise the question just a little bit, like, are you satisfied weakening the queen side?
Your potential pawn shield.
Yeah.
On that side. I
agree with you. And the lack of ambition that the move e2, e3 shows, it rankles. I am not a big fan.
Much akin to game number 1. While we aren't necessarily finding our way into direct symmetry, we are finding ourselves to somewhat mirror the clock situation from the first go-around. Once again, Garry spending much more time out the gate than Vishy, but we'll see if that holds true.
Since he wasn't punished in game 1, maybe he's figuring, don't worry, guys. You know, you guys are making big points. You saw what happened in the last game. You saw what happened in other games. I'm okay. I'm going to handle my business. But at the moment now, shaking his head there, and again, shaking his head.
I think Garry's realizing the move c7, c6 did not address the issues. By the way, we like talking about the breaks in the opening. To my eyes, I'm white. I love the move c2, c4. I'm eyeballing that as the potential. I'm also eyeballing the move e3, e4. So let's just put a move on the board, if you don't mind. I'm just going to play knight f6, knight g3, knight g6, queen to f1, and I'm going to repeat e7, e6. So now with the move c2, c4, and bishop d7, just getting ready to castle short. Nope, I'm going to cut you off at the pass. You're not castling. So this is how black can get into a little trouble. You're about to say,
well,
Chips.
but none of this deals with your original idea, which is what if the bishop comes all the way over to a5?
a5, yep.
So how do we stop that?
You can't. You're going to have to play b6, or you're going to use a tempo to play the move bishop c7.
A5 myself. Pawn to a5. Then I recapture with my rook.
That's true. But what you've done is you've stopped me from playing the move bishop a5, but okay, we're just going to take this move back so the audience can follow our analysis. The move a5 sure does put the kibosh on my bishop coming out to b4 as well as a5. But now you've limited yourself. You say, I'm not castling queenside.
Yeah.
You're going to castle kingside. Now I know where you're going. I'll adjust accordingly. By the way, I think we saw knight d7.
Knight d7 and a4, on the board, remembering that a5 idea. And you've got white thinking that I could play a5 and a6. And this is, again, Alpha Zero style. In
dropping the pawn.
The H pawn is usually the pawn we see when black castles, or either side castles, kingside. But here with the pawn going down there, that pawn could be a bone in the throat. A lot of times we like to use that pawn in lever fashion, open up the side. But a lot of times, Alpha Zero, the wonderful engine that was created by DeepMind, Google's DeepMind, showed that a pawn sitting, just being a nuisance in enemy territory, can be quite the problem. So a4 is definitely one of those, I'm going to put a little finger type move and moves. And that now a5 is a natural reaction just to make sure this pawn doesn't continue to expand.
I liked how Grandmaster Edward Gufeld described that pawn on a6 or the pawn on h6. It's like a snake at your throat. You know, it's kind of a boa constrictor. You don't like it there. You just don't like it.
I don't want a snake anywhere near me as far as I'm concerned,
in a response.
Whoa. Okay. This is the Scorpion, right? Gary's true to his nature. His nature is he likes to play dynamic and enterprising chess. Is he doing it again to himself? Is he making his own life difficult? This is not a move I would have aspired to myself, but okay, e7, e5. Throws a gauntlet on the board. What are you going to do?
So I'll tell you this, we wanted a little bit more action
well, we're
from
getting
game 1 to game 2. We're definitely getting it this time around.
Yeah, exactly. We sure are.
That is for darn sure. And by the way, this move is not a real threat. If you push, you have actually given white this French structure.
Again.
Right?
Yeah.
This knight could easily just drop back and then play for all the breaks, the f3 break being a very important one, and also the c4 break being an important one as well.
Exactly.
The possibility here of the move c4,
also very nice,
is also interesting because this bishop, you know, it can always get in the game, but it's also pressuring this pawn. Boy, I would love to see c4 land on the board just because it's so wild and woolly.
It's a visual move.
Very visual.
And this bishop on b1, once you do play the move c4, it's got a natural pathway to f5 and pinning the knight to the king. Another move that just, again, I find myself very attractive is Munch Munch. I would like to encourage black to capture that, kind of freeze my queen just that ever little bit, loosen black up on the queen side, and if we were going to get a position like this, well, you can see the queen ready to rumble. You're right, though. I would have preferred the pawn on
Yeah,
C4.
what's your bishop doing on B1?
Okay.
Please get it in the game.
It's an ugly...
You know, wanted to do it one step at a time. By the way, did we play A4 with the idea of playing A5 in the near future?
Yes,
we did.
Absolutely. This is some good stuff. E5, Gary playing with fire after these moves.
It's hilarious. Sorry to interrupt you there, Maurice. It's hilarious. I had criticized Vichy. E2, E3. That move lacks ambition. A4? Well, that's as ambitious as you can get. Wait a minute. And E5? That's as ambitious as you can get. Go ahead, Vichy.
It's on the board. This fire and brimstone again. This is the kind of chess we want to see. This is sharp. I don't know what the result's going to be because we're being shocked by results. The last 3 results, we've been stunned.
Yes,
right?
clear.
That's for sure. In the last 3 games, this match is completely unpredictable. But with a move like this, I would say, yeah, you can't tell the storyline the way it's going to develop. And this last move, E5, I'm not sure this is something Black should have done, but we'll see.
Right, nothing's gone the way we've expected, and I'd venture a guess that VISHWANATHAN did not expect this E5 move because now he has spent quite a bit of time. We're about to see clocks nearly equalized here, so a bit of a different picture from the first go-around between these two.
I remember having dinner with Bent Larson where we were discussing a game that was going on in the tournament, and White had played H4. And Bent looked at me and he said, Yasser, can you believe that the player never played H5? You played H4. You said A. What does A2, A4 say to you? I'm going to grab some space. Vichy's thinking about it, but the natural move here is A5. And you said it yourself, Maurice, we're not even worried about the move E4. We got a French, and we're ready to play C4 and talk about that snake at your throat. A5, A6 lurking, F2, F3, Bishop G3. So Vichy's played A4. Well, come on, man. You know, you said A. Let's go with B. Let's play A5.
And he had that edge on the clock. Here he is once more thinking, I hate to, again, clock unaware at the moment, but come on, Vichy. Any move. At some point, though, I feel like it's just going to click in. That, you know, he was one of the fastest players in history when he was a young man. Back in the early 90s, he was one of the fastest players you've ever seen. And he was thinking for some time, and look at this.
We got it done,
C4 is on the board. Hello. He is just risen the temperature on the chessboard with that last move.
Turned it up. Yeah, I like it. I like it. C4.
We can get behind this move. That's what he was thinking about.
You wanted to see it. Your wish has been granted. C4 is on the board. It's a lot of tension now on those central squares.
Now, I don't like capturing because just jumping ahead. If I get to recapture, it's sort of like my piece is going to be sitting pretty on the C4 square. And why is A4 useful? Well, you don't want to defend the pawn. I'm just going to force your knight away. And if you play B5, why did I play A4? Well, just so I could rip open the position. And that bishop on B1, why did we play C4? Hello. That's a rook.
A nice line indeed, but also, Yaz,
yes,
you do have another problem in this position. Takes. There's also just takes, isn't there? Not sure how.
We take a recapture, knight takes C5.
Knight takes. You don't mind this position, I guess.
I'm losing my castling privileges.
Castling rights?
Yeah, for a whole pawn, though.
You know we're going to try to win that pawn back.
No, you're not. No, you're not. You never get it.
Never going to give it back.
Never.
I got a feeling that I will be able.
I'm not giving you nothing. I'll take it back. I'll recapture.
Actually, I have another idea. It's not just.
No, you don't.
Now bishop to A2?
What if? Oh, bishop A2. I want it to be more aggressive, James.
Okay.
And play maybe a move like this one and prepare to castle.
You're cruising for a bruising now. The one thing that you didn't want to allow is a queen on H8
this move like this
to get into the game, right? I got a battery suddenly that I'd like to share.
Suddenly you do have a battery.
Yeah, to share.
And I don't have a chance because your king is going to hide on this square. So
I'm so lucky.
Yeah. For now, trust me. After the disposition here, I find it very hard to believe.
Here's what I'm learning.
Now that you've said it, let's play bishop C3 first.
A move that we wanted before.
Yes. And now if you say, I want to keep my pawn, I'll take that.
And now castle.
I'll castle.
No, bring your king to the rook.
King to the rook.
Yeah.
And now, give me the pawn back. Give me the beautiful diagonal here.
Now
your king is stuck in the middle.
I hate where my king is now as black.
No, white's all day.
White all day.
All day.
So C4 on the board.
By the way, Gary responded faster than I expected him to. I thought that move was going to...
Well, he spent a good 3 minutes on that thing. He just made the move. So you see 15:53 on his clock. Now time ticking away here on Vishy's side. So he opts to not look for the trade. He's going to complete the connect four. David Howe is very happy somewhere in Norway right now to see that the connect four completed.
And we have what Lawrence Day might call the big clamp. He's got the center, has Gary, but I'm not unhappy in Vishy's shoes here. I'm thinking, bring my bishop out, play the move f3, bring my bishop out, please trade, open up my queen. And by the way, with the move f3, I got another one. I'm going to play a very bad move. Please forgive me, Garry Kasparov fans. But, ooh, that move could suddenly... no. I mean, White's got the initiative here.
There goes pawn power in Hans Camacho again with those levers. Sorry, Yasser. I'm going to keep referencing the book that you so dearly love.
Mass suicide. Seppuku.
Listen,
yes.
This is the kind of position that Vishy in his prime plays just with exact style. He plays it with incisiveness. He starts hitting you. What I've seen so far, he has not played aggressively. He just hasn't. He has not played aggressively. Remember that game, was it game one or was it game two? The game he had the white pieces where he played the rapid game where he played King B1.
Yes.
And we were waiting for some
advantage.
Come on, go get him, hit him hard. We were waiting for H5. He played G5 and slowed up the game.
Right.
We haven't seen that Vishy yet.
Unleashed. Yep.
When he starts playing like that, he's going to be super dangerous in this match. And it's moves like F3, even Benko style.
By the way, G4.
G4. It reminds me of my suggestion to you when you were playing Dragon Barlov all those years ago.
P4.
You played this kind of move. But this kind of move, just pry open the pawn chain, try to start cracking open both sides of the board.
Hilarious. Brings back memories. The first time I ever met Vishy across the board was in Dubai, the Olympiad. I was playing board one for the United States. He was playing board one for India. I was on the black side of a French defense, and he was trying to keep the clamp on me and to keep my pieces all backwards, right? Passive. And now he's playing the French defense reversed.
French structure, right?
Reversed. I find that hilarious. I'm looking at F3, Maurice. I'm just saying, just go ahead and make a move. Like you don't want to take. This would be very useful. Thank you for helping me develop my pieces, right? My queen suddenly came out. My bishop suddenly came out. This is not what you want to do. So you want to play the move knight F6, right? Just develop. And now I love your G4 idea. Like, give me that. Like,
that wasn't my idea. You actually suggested it first.
Like, wow.
But here,
he took
what just happened?
He took on D5, I believe.
I can't.
Well, he's got a very crystal clear idea. If he can bring a rook to the C file first, something like bishop A2. No, I'm not sure I like it either. But I'm trying to justify his play.
How do you even do it?
I like the tension. I like
the tension was wonderful. Why break the tension? And how do you, as you mentioned,
exploit the C file?
Give me the solution to this math problem. Get your rook on C1 somehow.
Right. Okay. I'm anticipating him playing the move bishop A2. If you didn't want to play F3, I'm anticipating bishop A2. Let's say you got to defend the pawn.
No, he's played G4.
Ooh.
Not sure why he needed to play.
Sacrificing for B7. Oh, Vishy.
Oh, are you serious? It's funny.
Remember the battery?
Very interesting idea indeed.
Remember the battery. Oh, my goodness. Could he have been...
Wow.
That was why he didn't want to see the pawn on C6. So he took on D5. to prep a piece sacrifice, and he's saying, let's see you defend the pawn on b7.
Not in this position, you don't.
Let's see you defend the pawn on
You're trying to figure out how to get this b1 bishop into the game in a useful manner, and that's such a creative way to do so.
That could be sweet. That could be sweet. Knight takes e4. I don't think you can take the knight.
No, I don't think you can.
And Vishy is saying, please take my knight.
Okay. Well, how is this? Is this our first look at the kind of Vishy you're talking
look,
about?
Look, Gary just looked up because he sensed the sacrifice is coming. He knows Vishy's got something up his sleeve.
It's a dynamic move, but if you wanted to play g4 and trick your guy, why don't you just play it? Instead of playing
C takes
d5.
I preferred f3 and g4, but
I'm just saying, if you are going to play, like if we go back a couple of moves to right here.
Yep.
If you really want to be sneaky about it, and you play this
with
move,
g4,
and you take me
and
here,
now take
and now you take, you go, why is he doing this? But this pawn is straight up hanging,
now
and this pawn, your structure is crashing. And now you could do it the exact same thing.
No options.
But no options.
Right. It took away your ability to play something else.
So it seemed to me G4, if given the same plan, would have just been just as fast. And it works. It actually does work, if that was your intention.
Exactly.
You were saying he wanted to clear the diagonal, but that would have cleared it just the same.
So instead of CD5, G4 from the initial position was much more incisive. Yes. I agree.
And also much more cunning, like sneaky. Because you might think, because look, when I first saw G4, I didn't see this idea at all.
Right.
This move, you know, you're thinking maybe I'm going to play for H3 and play Benko style, kind of opening up these lines. That's what my brain was, not realizing that this possibility existed.
And Bishop takes
with the sacrifice. Yeah. So it would have been sneaky to play this way. Truly. This one is more transparent, and it's on the board. And now Gary,
look at that
look of disgust on his face. Almost.
Well, he's suddenly sensing that his plan of E5 and E4 was very ambitious, and maybe unjustified. He took strategic risks, losing time on development. You know what might have lured Gary into the whole E5, E4 was A4. Gary probably looked at that move and said, you know, you're wasting time. You're giving me a chance to seize the initiative. I'm gonna do that, underestimating what Vishy has just done.
Now, what if, as opposed to taking this G pawn, I develop like my light squared bishop to defend the F pawn?
Okay, so a very good move, for example, would be bishop G6, just as you've suggested. In this particular case, what you might not like is that the bishop is actually in a bit of a pin. In the move F2, F3, prepares to, you know, my favorite living condition, winning a pawn.
Going for the pawns.
Going for the pawn. And by the way, also, knight to G3 is also another tempo. The bishop is actually vulnerable.
Because of problem piece, in a way.
Now, another way was to say, okay, let me just refortify that pawn with the move G6. I'm not a big fan of this move either, pretty much for the same reasons. I can capture and play knight G3, or I still like the entire idea.
The Hans Kamac move. Pawn powers, pawn levers. Man,
this guy's not going to show up to work tomorrow if you keep throwing that name around.
Human resources.
I mean, we know how much you love. You know, you're coming around to it.
I need a safe zone, everybody. You know, just...
Put him in a bubble.
This man is hurting
Surrounded
me.
by pawns.
Hurting me over here.
Oh, my Lord.
Oh, my gosh.
Levers are good, Levers are good. Okay.
Yep.
Kamac.
8:45, by the way, on the clock. Sorry to jump in and take the role that you've been taking in game number 1 of the day. Gary has still been thinking for some time.
Time eval.
And just like that, again, going into this move, he was only down about a minute and a half on the clock. Now he's down over 7 minutes at this point.
Well, his world just got rocked because this is not Garry Kasparov. Garry Kasparov is the man who's making the sacrifices, not receiving them. Knight takes E4 Garry knows that this bishop coming out with the queen backing up the power on the diagonal of bishop takes b7, he would lose. He would just simply lose. So Garry is like, uh-oh.
He looks determined, though. He looks determined. But that said, yes, you're right. G4, one of those moves that became famous at some point, I would say.
Kasparov?
No, when G4 became everybody's move, you know, started with the carries attack.
Oh, I see. Yes.
And then G4 started getting played by everybody in any position. Shirov was doing it famously so. Yeah. Slavs, you just named it. G4 was landing on the board. G4 was just boom. Everybody wanted to play the move G4. And here, a dynamic pawn thrust. It's not the alpha 0S type. H4, A4 type moves. G4 in this case, cracking the structure, creating imbalances, saying to black, I'm not just going to sit here and chill and develop my pieces.
No.
I'm going to create energy immediately, and you have to figure out how to handle it.
Yep.
And so we're seeing it right now, and that's costing a lot of time on the clock to Garry.
Costing him dearly.
James, what did you say the time control was for these guys?
This is 25-10.
No, I don't believe it. It looks like 7 minutes for 8 moves. It's 7 minutes for 8 moves. Garry Kasparov started with 25.
Starting with 25, now down to 6.5 to his name. I mean, I know he's played pretty brilliantly in those kind of panic times so far in our events, but there's a critical mass that you can't necessarily let yourself. There's a tipping point.
He better not lose on time.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, commentators, defibrillator.
Like, seriously? Yeah. Somebody just, Chris Bird, go over there and just, hello, time.
A little shove.
Like, come on, what are you doing? And
So we've explored 3 of the options. Taking and defending in 2 different ways. Are those the 3 that he's also considering? There's nothing else.
There's nothing else. There's nothing else. I mean, if you allow White's pretty clear about it. I'm going to take this pawn, and maybe I'll sacrifice anyway. Thank you for asking.
And G6, after much thought,
wow,
he's played a move that we felt was pretty natural. He's come around to it, but it just spent so much time, precious seconds doing it. And now Vishy, I'm going to say I'm a bit surprised.
Okay. He should have been ready.
G6, you should have had this one plotted out.
Absolutely.
Next move should have been landing. I would have done it, just waited if he plays G6.
Right. Yeah.
Boom.
Boom, boom.
Just
exactly.
boom. As soon as you play, boom. Vishy here stopping to look at the position is a bit of a shock to me.
Push the pace.
Exactly.
Push the pace.
Exactly. Show some confidence. Shows, that I'm the one who's gonna start taking over this match.
And to bring an analogy from the sport that I grew up in as a track and field athlete, like you want to control the pace of the race. You want to make people run your race, right? And in this case, great. You've set the tone, you've set the pace, but you have to continue along with it. You have to follow through on the game plan.
Exactly. And quickly, I remember a U.S. championship game I was playing against Dmitry Gurevich. I had a terrible position. I really, really did. But it was complicated. That was the problem for Dmitry. It was complicated, and he was using a lot of time. And I thought to myself, well, the only chance I got is to exploit the time. And it was like the weirdest thing. I was analyzing the position, and I'm saying, Dmitry's going to play this move. And I have to prepare my response. So Dimitri's thinking, he made a move. Instantly came my response. He was shocked. He was like, and he started thinking, and I said, he's going to play this move. Immediately responded. And he just collapsed because the moves just kept coming. See, I would have thought to myself, Gary's going to play G6. I'm going to play knight G3. But give me the pawn.
The most important thing came at the end there, and the moves just kept coming.
Right, bang, bang, bang.
Because you make the move, then you have to keep up the pace. You have to say, stick with me, or I'm going to drop you.
Exactly.
That's right, and I'm super confident at the moment because I'm guessing your moves, and I'm just responding as soon as you do. That's really a psychological whammy.
Precisely.
You don't want to be in that situation. And then your clock starts to tick even more and more. Exactly. So the fact that Vishy is not ready with the move knight G3 you have there on the board, or the move F3, something, whatever it is you're going to play, is a bit of a surprise, as though G6 itself surprised him when it was one of the main candidate moves in the position.
And indeed, maybe even the only move. And yeah, you would say, okay, come on, Vishy, you've got it ready. Let's go. And especially because Garry is down to, what are we looking at?
It's 8:16 on the clock for Garry, now 13:10 to Vishy's name.
Yeah. But again, you said psychologically, you hate it in a complicated position when your opponent comes right back at you with a, you expected the move, but nonetheless, would you please take 5 minutes, you know, let me
Makes you feel like they know something you don't.
Right. And Vishy, look at him. He is so focused. Outside of F3 or knight G3, what are the alternatives here, Maurice?
I don't see it. I don't see it. I think you have to go for the structure. You have to play you said A. In this case, G.
Yeah.
You must say F.
Right. Let's
just
go.
do the move. Go. Just go.
Right.
Make a move. Don't please
freeze.
Please don't just freeze.
For the sake of discussion, I'll offer a bad idea that
Please.
goes a different way, but maybe now taking my light squared bishop over to A2, threatening that backwards pawn.
Fair.
On B5. Of course, it now removes all the opportunities for the sacrifice that we were talking about
on E4.
Before. I feel like, though, now we just invite the defense from our own light squared bishop or the knight, coming out.
To defend the pawn,
You know what? I'd give your move kudos if you just made it.
If you just made it.
Just play the move.
If it was prepared.
Whoa. He fell in love with your idea.
How do you get a rook to the C file?
But he's just given up, castling permanently on that side. I guess he figures his king can just waltz over there. But you see the move G4 on the right side. You see the move Rook A3 on the left side. And you wonder, how are they connected?
I got a harmonic convergence for you.
Please.
Please. Let's imagine, just for argument's sake, the move knight here. I'm going to give you a Hakasito. You're going to block and cover. Now, remember I told you the problem child? Well, what if that problem child became an all-star? Ooh, maybe he's combining an attack on the king side with a shift, and maybe even an exchange sacrifice on C7, like something like, oh, you can't castle.
Okay, but Garry very quickly
what did Garry
played bishop to D6, only move, and now just moved his king out of danger and said, okay, you played a nice maneuver, but
it
so
ends
what?
There.
So what?
But what do you do? Now, there is the benefit that the rook on A8
is stuck.
I agree. So that is a plus for what has just occurred. But how do you do some kind of?
I think it's F3. Let's go.
F3.
Break up the team.
Trying to break up the team.
Bishop G3 on Vishy's agenda. He's got some momentum. And as you said it, the rook on A8. That's your problem, child.
Okay, but help me understand the eval bar then in this situation. Because by all accounts, you just told me there's a rook, which is worth 5 points, locked away on the left-hand side of your screen. And yet, black, by the engine's evaluation, is up a full point.
Well, the problem was when Vishy played G4, he was breaking down the center with the move knight takes E4. If black keeps the big clamp in the center, white's pieces are going to be suffocating a bit. But it does question, I do have the question, why is the eval bar in Garry's favor at the moment? It's not intuitively obvious for me.
Yeah,
are we playing knight B6, by the way? What are we doing here with the black pieces? I do want to capture. I do want to play knight takes. And I do want to play bishop G3. So I've got a lot of happy moves, easy moves. What exactly should Garry be doing?
It is not self-evident to me either what the plan should be here for black, although that A-pawn could potentially be a problem. Okay, your Saxon E4 could happen, right?
Correct.
It's a threat. So let's clear out with a5. Make sure that never is an issue. My rook is able to move. So you're not sacking on e4, I imagine.
So let's just show the audience why the sacrifice is no longer as powerful. Remember, a moment ago, the king was on c8, the bishop was on b8. In this particular, you've given yourself a defense.
Exactly.
Okay.
On top of which, if we now add something else, when you play a5, the pawn on a4
is stuck.
And so when knight b6, and he has played a5, and when the knight goes to b6,
I've got to play
you're
b3.
going to have to play b3, weakening those dark squares around your king, waiting for a bishop a3 check.
No, I'm not waiting for that. I'm going to trade off that.
You want to kill this guy?
I'm not waiting for you to land on my doorstep, Maurice. I'm going to play bishop b6. I'm hoping to trade on my terms. Like, if I could play knight takes g3, then...
No. Okay, so now I play queen f6, maybe?
Defending the bishop?
No. I want to replace my bishop with a queen.
Okay, so how we do
if it ever happens.
So you want to take...
No, I will play queen f6. You called it defense. You remember when you were trying to checkmate with your queen maneuvering, my friend, queen d1, queen a4, blah, blah, blah. I'm doing the same thing right now. I'm trying to get my queen to sneak over to that side in one move.
Makes sense.
Although, and there we see bishop g3.
Let me refresh
on the board.
And now you're saying the key move is queen f6.
I was just saying I could replace, instead of trying to trade, I play queen f6. And if you play something like g5, I'll just drop back to e7.
Whoa. I'm a pawn grabber.
But you're going to grab a pawn.
I'm going to grab a pawn.
You want to sack on e4 with a bishop.
Correct.
I imagine. I see you.
Yeah.
That's true.
Okay, so what I'm trying to trick Maurice into doing is capturing my bishop, because then, of course, I've got the fork against the queen and the bishop, and life is good for white.
Right.
Maurice saw that a mile away. He's not going to go for that.
So, but
I'm going to take.
You take, and so now I am going to take with the f pawn.
All right.
And when you sack,
correct.
Now the question becomes, after bishop takes g3.
Correct. Now I pause. Because should I go for this, or do I do this
and then take back and get 3 pawns for the piece?
Yeah, but I don't know. Is it worth it? I mean, I'm thinking black is a piece up. I only got 2 pawns.
Is it only 2? I thought you would clock 3 of them.
It felt like 2.
It's only 2. Well,
it felt like 2. That was my issue. Bishop g3, a big moment. And by the way, James,
still waiting on that response, and now we're just about to hit that 4-minute mark once again.
By the way, also there is.
Let's
get back to the party move, knight b6. Let's get back to that move we had talked about.
Knight b6.
A5 was made to also freeze your pawn. So what are you doing here?
Pausing, thinking. Can I allow knight takes a4?
Whoa.
Bishop c2?
Whoa. Wait a second, guys.
Yes.
We've neglected something.
What did we forget?
Why has Gary only got 346 on his clock?
We didn't neglect anything.
We just said
No.
Just oblivious.
Well, you were focused at knight b6.
I was so much on the board and the action and the sex appeal of that move.
f6.
Queen f6.
Okay. That was your move.
That I made.
Also. Okay.
But still, 1040 for Vish.
White can still castle kingside.
Yes.
Yeah.
With the queen on f6.
Yes.
Yeah, just have to get the knight out of the way.
How do we force you to play bishop takes